if you're not talking.
Hi, good evening, and welcome to the City of Sharonville's second Zoom meeting. We hope everyone is doing well. This evening, we're going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to ask Mr. Irie to please lead us in silent prayer and also the Pledge of Allegiance. So we don't go off our Zoom screens, we will be just putting our hands across our hearts. Thank you, Mr. Irie.
All right, please bow your heads. Amen. Name of the Father. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and
to the
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Knight, thank you once again for providing our flag.
I'll let my husband know. He's my prop man.
Thank you. Before we get started this evening, and while we were in a moment of prayer, I meant to recognize the Susan Upton Farley family, and just please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. The retired mayor did pass away over the weekend, and I believe her services will be this coming Friday, but she was mayor of Woodlawn for many, many years. So if we could keep Susan Upton Farley and her family in our thoughts and prayers, that would be great. We will go ahead and have roll call. Mrs. Buhite.
Mr. Tankersley,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Mr. Lippert, Mr. Lippert is here, Mr. Duda,
Here.
Mr. Cook,
Here.
Mrs. Knight,
Here,
Mr. Schmidt.
Approval of minutes. Are there any corrections or adjustments to the minutes of April 14th, our regular council meeting? I see none, so those are accepted as written and distributed. We will move on to our reports and communication to Mayor Hardman.
Thank you, Vicki. So first of all, pursuant to your legislation that you passed at your last meeting, I did and have declared a state of emergency for the city of Sharonville as we go through this crisis. That has not, we have not been required to apply any different powers than what we normally have at this point in time. However, for our purposes, I did make that declaration. And it is good for a period of 30 days, starting on April 16th is when I signed that. So we will relook at that here in a couple of weeks and see if another 30 days will be necessary. In light of the governor's orders, our department heads are getting are wrapping their heads around what we can start reopening, what kind of individuals we can welcome back into the city offices. And how we can start transitioning back into the old normal. So we're looking at how we can do that in accordance with what orders are coming out of the state of Ohio each and every day as the governor continues to convene. I was able to spend some time this afternoon. The county holds 2 times a week meeting of local elected officials. You probably are all receiving an email and an invitation to those meetings as well. I was able to listen in on one of those today to see if there's anything new, any additional information to share with you on council or the public in general. There's not much new, there's not much different. One of our neighboring communities did ask a question that I think we are struggling with, and I know Mr. Blomer, who's on with us tonight, is struggling with, which is the issue of pools and camps and what kind of direction we might be getting from the state as far as those entities go. And the answer was there really isn't any additional direction other than those facilities are not able to be open as of yet. So we're waiting to see what we can do for the summer that is fast approaching with respect to Camp Sharonville, with respect to our pool, and how we move forward with some of those things that I think everybody is looking forward to engaging in as our summer months start coming quickly. Again, just our police department, our fire department, our public works folks are doing a fantastic job continuing to serve, continuing to do everything that they can to maintain the city. All of our employees are continuing to do a great job working from home to continue to serve all the residents of Sharonville and making sure that we're not missing many beats. Financially, we're still strong. We're still in good shape. It's especially great to be able to say that when we hear, and I think you've all heard some of the news that comes out of other jurisdictions around us. But I think good planning on all of your part over the last several years have put us in a position where we're able to maintain our employees and continue to serve them and continue to serve our community as best as we can. I'm really encouraged by some of the things that I see our employees doing. Hopefully, one of the great things is, toot Michael's horn down there as well, but I think our Parks and Rec department has done a fantastic job at finding ways to just engage our community. Hopefully some of you saw on Facebook, Rex, our lion doing his morning workout, and just helping to encourage folks to continue to stay fit and do what they can while they're dealing with this particular struggle that we're all dealing with. So I commend them. I commend the group. Sharonville Serves has done an excellent job in reaching out to our community and continues to do so. So if you know folks that are in need someone to help them go to the grocery store, need something, look us up. Let us know how we can help you out because that's really what it's there for, is to be a helping hand to our entire community during this time. So we're moving along. We're continuing to do what we need to do. I think it is our intentions that as we start transitioning back into the workplace, that we're hoping not, at least through May, not to have any changes in our for our employees to continue to employ them at the same way we have over the last April month. So thank you all for the good planning that you've all done and that has enabled us to do so. And we are continuing to look at some of our capital expenditures and things that we can do and whether or not we're going to hold back on this or that in order to continue to do that. Although at this point, we haven't pulled the trigger on a lot of things. We do have one area that is, I think dicey might be the best word, and that is the issue of our transient occupancy tax. I think it's going to be one of our areas of revenue that it's going to be hardest hit throughout this pandemic, and what that means for our convention center, and especially with respect to the expansion of the convention center that was on the horizon. So we are continuing to look at that. However, this Thursday, we do have a meeting with some folks that rate our ability to borrow money. And that presentation that we're going to be sharing with them, in spite of the fact that we're in this pandemic, in spite of the fact that there are financial constraints all over around us, is going to look, I think, very rosy for us as a city, and looking at the ways that we've increased our revenues over the last few years, the ways that we've tempered our spending in accordance with that, as well as the lack of borrowing to any great degree over the last few years. So I think we've got a really good picture to share with them when we meet on Thursday, that hopefully we'll have a nice rating that when it comes time to borrow money, we'll be in a good place to do so, and therefore getting good rates. But that's where we're at right now. So things are going well. We continue to be in a good state for the city of Sharonville, and we continue to be able to serve our citizens as best as we are able at this time.
Are there any questions for the mayor? I don't see anything. Thank you, Mayor Hardman. We'll move on to our Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. So before we get into the legislation this evening, we do have one added request, which is a voice vote for a grant that John Creech would like to apply for with no local match, but John is here tonight to talk about the grant request.
Good evening, everyone. So this, what we're looking at doing is applying to the Hamilton County mini grant program that they do every year. We were awarded the grant last year to do the downtown streetscape design. This year, because of the situation being what it is, they are actually accepting grant applications with zero match. So we can apply and there would be no match on our part. And another thing they're doing is Hamilton County Community Development Department employees will be doing all the work. So we really won't have to enter into any contract. There'll be no administrative process we have to go through. They'll do all the work and deliver the end product to us. So we're looking at applying for a $10,000 grant where they would look at evaluating a multi-use bike path trail connection from downtown Sharonville connecting to Sharon Woods Park. If you recall, a couple years ago, the Mill Creek Collaborative folks came to the city, did a presentation. The grand scheme, the grand idea is that there be bike path linking eventually down to Cincinnati through Evendale, Sharonville, along the Mill Creek or Sharon Creek, and it goes into downtown Sharonville. That's the plan. But the critical part is how do we get from downtown Sharonville to the ultimate destination of Sharon Woods Park. So that's what the county would do with this grant if we're awarded that. They would do some analysis, cost estimates, and that sort of thing. So it would save us a lot of money and really help us out.
Does anyone have questions? Thank you, Mr. Creech. We'll put that on the agenda.
Thank you.
The second item before the legislation is Joe Kempy's here. Our summer street program started today. So we just asked Joe to remind council which streets are being paved and just to see if you guys have any questions on that.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Yeah, the streets that we're going to work on this year are the downtown streets of Spinner, Oak, Walnut from Maple to Main, Lower Cornell from Maple to Main, Burke Avenue, Ohio Avenue, and all those streets will also receive new water main paid for by Greater Cincinnati Water Works. And then we will also resurface Woodward Lane. The water main was replaced last year. So we'll resurface that this year as well. They did start today, and they're starting, originally we were going to start with Ohio Avenue and then work towards the downtown area. But with school being out and no festival at St. Michael's as of June, they decided to start by the school, try to get that area finished as quickly as possible. So that when school does open, it'll be, hopefully the work will be done. So that's the project for this year.
Are there
Any questions for Joe?
Vicky, I've got a question for Joe.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, it's Rob.
Okay.
I was asked whenever they do the Burke Street, will they replace the curbs and the sidewalk or put sidewalks in also, or just do the street and curbs?
We're definitely doing the curbs. If there's aprons involved, those will be done as well. And we'll do whatever sidewalk repair has to be done.
Okay,
We're
well,
not-
right now
we're not-
there isn't any on Burke.
No, then we're not putting sidewalks in.
Okay,
No.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I've got a question, Vicky.
Okay.
Joe, to piggyback on Rob's question, down around St. Mike's area, you're going to be resurfacing the streets, redoing the curbs, and will you be doing any sidewalk maintenance or repair or replacement?
Yeah. Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Kempe.
Okay,
So moving into the legislation, the first ordinance this evening is pertaining to debt, and Scott's here to talk about the debt legislation.
Good evening. This is our annual note rollover, similar to what we've done in the last for many years. We issued a $6.1 million note last year. It had $1.1 million of some old convention center expansion on the note, and $5 million of new proceeds that went to kind of the last piece we needed for the financing of the new police station. The ordinance provides for an issue up to $6 million. That's kind of one thing we wanted to talk about, or I wanted to make mention of. This is, we're going for a minimum pay down. Now we will be able to dial that in when we price the debt, which this is not penciled into price until June the 10th. So to kind of give us maximum liquidity rolling forward, throughout the year, not knowing what to, could we expect later in the year. We wanted to have that versatility. So we may talk about that a little bit more in some committee meetings, but this has the minimum pay down. The other two important things to point out different than past note ordinances is that there's the options for private placement. So we would be able to sell the issuance to a bank if the market would not be open for municipal financing. And that did happen. That happened quite a bit back those 2 or 3 weeks of March, where there really wasn't a market to sell notes or sell notes at a good rate. The other option in there is the OMAP. It's a program by the state treasurers to kind of, it provides an improved rating on the bond. So it lets us sell the bond at a cheaper rate. We pay a cost to the state treasurer, a fee, but we make that up on the a lower interest rate. So it's a really good program for the local government. Not one we needed to use before, but provides some versatility with this one. Also some guaranteed placement. I believe Margaret did join us in the audience at home if we did have some other more technical questions, and I'm happy to field any as well.
I just promoted her as a panelist, Scott, so she can speak.
Okay.
Good. Can you hear me?
Hi, Margaret. Yes, welcome.
Well, hello. This is very exciting, meeting electronically. So I'm happy to address any questions you may have, but I think Scott's summary was quite excellent.
Did anyone have questions? I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Margaret. We appreciate your time and efforts.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So the next piece of legislation is a resolution pertaining to ODOT and our guardrails in the city. Joe's here to talk about that this evening.
Yes. ODOT has replaced all their guardrails that they own in the city with a new updated end piece. The old end piece that they use, meaning where the guardrail starts, it used to fold down into the ground, and ODOT has decided, I guess through studies and so on, has decided that that is an unsafe guardrail. So they replaced all their guardrails with a type A guardrail where it's more direct in with a cushion type guardrail that if it's hit by a vehicle, it gives a little bit and doesn't flip the car over. And once they're done with all theirs throughout the state, they've decided to replace all locally owned guardrails. And in Sharonville, that's 10 locations on National Highway System. And they're going to do ours as well at no cost to the city. But in order to do it, because they do not own the guardrails, they need legislation authorizing them to do it. So there's no cost to the city whatsoever. It does improve our guardrails in 10 different locations on national highway systems in the city of Sharonville. And that's the reason for the legislation tonight.
Are there any questions? I don't see any. Thank you, Mr. Kempe.
Okay, thank you.
That's all from me this evening.
Thank you. For my report this evening, I've got a few things, a couple thank yous that I'd like to send out first and foremost to Chief Mousa and Chief Vanover. If you were in Sharonville on Saturday, we had 2 very nice parades, and also a thank you to Mike Carlson for putting in a public works truck. Andy Bauer is an employee of ours, and his little girl turned 10 on Saturday. And as you all remember, his wife passed away about a month or 2 ago. So they drove by the Bauer home and honked, and it was a huge parade. And then there's a resident that lives in Waterford who she turned 65, and I got the nicest voicemail today as a thank you. Her husband has Parkinson's. Her 37-year-old daughter has a brain tumor, and the city of Sharonville made her day. One of our police officers even stopped and gave her like a little goodie gift bag. So I'm not sure what are in those, but I was told that there were many tears and lots of gratitude for our city. So thank you for making their days that day on Saturday. And for Chief Vanover and Mr. Kempe, thank you for taking care of the problem at that intersection of Maple and Cornell. I'm being reported to by the people that live down in that area that it is making a difference. So that's a good thing. We have lots of kids that walk back and forth to school in that area. We also have lots of people that just walk in that area and drive in that area. And they felt like it was very dangerous. People were not stopping on Cornell at that stop sign. So thank you very much for putting the plans in place that we already have. That's they're very grateful for that. Our next meeting on May 12th will also be by Zoom. We're not quite ready yet to social distance in our meeting area. So we will hold our meeting on May 12th by Zoom, just so everybody is aware of that. And something special that we have going on, normally our Veterans Committee would meet and we would be having a Memorial Day event on Memorial Day. Unfortunately, with the times that we're in, we're not able to get that put together, and we're not going to ask people to gather like that at this time. However, we decided to include the kids part of it, and they can still win $25 for writing an essay on what is Memorial Day. So this is opened up to all 5th grade students that are Sharonville residents. I'm going to have stuff on our website. We'll get it out on social media and all that good stuff. But if you have a 5th grader and they would like to start their essays, it's what is Memorial Day? What does Memorial Day mean to you? And I have a couple veterans that are going to be reading these and selecting the winners. Right now, the winners will get $25 for writing the essay. So that's a little prompt, a little cash in their hand to do that. So we'll get more information out on our website and things like that tomorrow. The essays are going to be due on May 13th, and I will have my email address and everything out. Then we're going to ask the kids, whether it's Zoom or live, to come to our last meeting, May 26th, our last meeting in May, the 26th, to read their essays. So it's always been a very valuable tool in Sharonville that we have done with our younger kids. And this came out of the Sharonville VFW because one of the guys said the only way to teach people what the true meaning of a Memorial Day is to teach the young kids. So we can take a note from their book, and we're going to teach the young kids and have them teach us. So that information is all coming out, and it will be on our website. Are there any questions for me this evening? Seeing none, we'll go to Mrs. Buhite, our Clerk of Council.
Thanks. No report.
Okay, thank you. Our auditor, Mr. Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody. I know that you guys haven't heard from me or actually Mr. Irie for a while. I wish I had a whole bunch of exciting news to share with you, but I really don't. We're 25% through the year, and we've spent about 17% of the budget. And obviously that's a lower amount than we would normally have through this time of year. Perhaps that speaks to what the mayor was talking about, tempering our expenses. And so, if you look at the departments further down, some of the departments are even lower than that. And so, I think we're doing what we need to do because we're not sure of the unknown at this point. So, but I think Mr. Irie is going to share with you some really good news, and I think really it's status quo what's going on right now, maybe with even a little cushion. And so I'm gonna let him talk about all the good stuff, and maybe he'll lead us in prayer again. Yeah, I didn't finish. Thanks.
Mr. Irie?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Yeah, just to kind of echo what Mr. Cunningham said there, we obviously our information is kind of in arrears here. So we have first quarter information through March, which is really based on February earnings, and that's all positive. The first 3 months of the year were all record months in terms of collection. January, February, March, all record collections. Income tax was up 3.04% through March year to date, and the motel tax was down slightly, 2.96% year to date. But obviously, we expect a downturn in those numbers going into once we start seeing some data from April and May. But we don't have any of that data in yet. So basically, everything that we are sharing is positive news, and I wish we could just keep it at that. But we'll see next month. Our report will probably be a little different, and we'll have to wait till then. So thanks.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Cunningham or Mr. Irie? Seeing none, we'll go to our law director, Mr. Pete Meyer.
Thank you. As Vicki said, we struggled with the decision on Memorial Day, but there's realistically no way to pull it off. One of the things, though, that we probably will do again, at least in an abbreviated form, is we would have veterans starting at 8 o'clock staying half-hour shifts at Patriot Point at attention, and we had a sign we put up not to say anything to them because they're basically doing that. And we have the flag lowered. Someone from REC is normally there at 8 o'clock to lower the flag. So there's a number of veterans that have contacted me that do that every year. And even though we're not having a program, they asked if they could do that again. So there will be some veterans standing guard between 8 and noon. But outside of that, the program is canceled. And hopefully this time next year, we'll be ready to roll again. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Pete Meyer. That's wonderful. Our next person is our Recreation Director, Mr. Michael Blomer. Welcome, Michael.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present my 2019 report to council. Everybody hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah?
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So before I share my screen here, I just want to take a moment to thank a few folks. I want to thank our staff. As the mayor had mentioned, we've tried to do as excellent a job as we can to continue to engage the community. We know that that's difficult right now because there's a lot of folks that need to be engaged, and there's a lot of folks that we serve on a regular basis that need different things from us. Some of them are kids that need craft projects. Some of them are adults that need enrichment. So we're really trying to cover all those bases and trying to give as much engagement as we can and keeping the community excited and united. And we're hoping that when we do get back to a new normal, especially with the recreation department, as it pertains to the community center, our parks, the pool, our programs, that folks will be excited and ready and confident to come back and see us. So I think we've done a great job of that. So I want to thank the staff. I also want to thank the mayor and council, administration, for everyone's support through all of this. Our staff thanks you for all of your support and your commitment to them. It excites me how excited they are to get back to work. This truly is one of the best places to work in Ohio. We've won awards that say it, but what the city's been able to do goes without saying that this is a fantastic place, and everybody's very grateful for what we've been able to accomplish so far. And then lastly, I want to thank all the other departments, pardon me, all the other departments as well for your support. I know we've pulled together a few of the folks to work on projects throughout 19 and moving forward. So thank you for that. But without further ado, I'll share my screen here and get to my 2019 report. Are you able to make me a host, Vicky, so that I can share my screen?
I don't know that I can, but Jason
I'll help
can.
with that.
There we
Should
go.
be good to go.
There you
Thank you.
got it.
All right, let me go ahead and get started here. So this is my report to council. For those of you that are familiar with our new fitness center, I thought it'd be a fitting image to put right in the front, albeit we're a little bummed that we can't use that shiny new fitness center right now. We are excited to be able to use it here soon. First and foremost, I want to point out what we were really trying to accomplish in 2019. One of my most important things that I wanted my staff to focus on was to be accommodating in everything we do. We take it very seriously when people walk in the door. We want people to feel warm and fuzzy. We want people to feel excited. We want people to feel that fellowship as soon as they come into the community center. And that is incredibly important to us. So that's one of the things that we really try to focus on because we know that when people are coming to us, they're coming to us for a multitude of reasons. They could be coming to us for fellowship. They could be coming for us to cool off at the pool. They could be coming to us for enrichment. And some folks just come to us for social interaction. I want to share a quick story. Last year, we did have a senior adult that came down, and she comes every once in a while, and she came to the front desk, and she had a very interesting request. She wanted to ask if one of our staff could thread some sewing needles for her. She wasn't there to work out. She wasn't there to play basketball. She wasn't there for a class. She just stopped down as a member and said hello, talked to our staff for a few minutes, and had our staff thread some sewing needles because she wasn't able to do so. And I was really touched by that because that is the epitome of what we do. That is the epitome of why we exist, is to serve, but also to serve the many needs of the community, whether it be, threading a needle or providing an excellent fitness center. We worked real hard in 2019 to upgrade and update our building. I know that there's been a lot of projects that we've done. We've got a lot of projects to go to continue to make that place look beautiful and more functional. But I believe this report is going to give you a snapshot of what we've done in 19 and kind of help you understand the creative or the exciting wave of momentum that we've started. Everybody really, I think, sees me as a big cheerleader and a big kind of a clown, but I really try to be that flag bearer and that person that gets our people pumped and riding that wave. As an effort to share some fun little things, I'll take a moment briefly and give everybody just a quick general description of each of these cool photos. We take a lot of photos in recreation. Bottom left is our breakfast with Santa in 2019. Two really cute kids there that belong to me, so I'm partial to them. The next photo is two additional super cute kids that were at the pool last summer enjoying some of our frozen treats. The next photo is at Patriot Point, and that's actually Sharonville Elementary School student council, and they volunteered to clean Patriot Point before the Veterans Day ceremony that's held there yearly. So hopefully we'll be able to have that again next year. And the last photo is something that happened in 2019 to our department, albeit sad. I wanted to, draw attention and kind of remember for a moment our dear friend Mike Renee, who passed away last year. He was a good friend to many in the community, a good friend to a lot of our coworkers. So I just wanted to throw him in there as well. I know he would appreciate that. Moving on. For those of you that are not familiar with our department, we do have 6 full-time staff, 25 part-time, and about 12 to 18 seasonal. Those seasonal staff, that number used to be quite larger before we started using SlimSafe, because we employed seasonally all of our aquatic employees. But now it's obviously shrunk. So the seasonal just includes folks from Camp Sharonville, the counselors, as well as the swim team coaches. We are open 7 days a week for a total of 86 hours. Obviously, many of you have been to our facility, so you know some of the great amenities that we have. And we do have that brand new shiny fitness facility that we are incredibly proud of. One of the biggest things for us, and it's become even more important than ever now, we pay very close attention to safety, security, and cleanliness. A lot of folks that come in the building will comment that our building does not look 20, going on 23 years old now, because we take a lot of pride, and we know that we need to be good stewards of the facility that we are maintaining. So that's very important to us. Our budget for 2019, we were able to save over $50,000 by continuing to do some comparing and pricing for different projects that we had, different supplies that we buy on a regular basis. Our 2019 revenue goal was $422,500. We did meet that and we exceeded it. So our revenue total for 19 was $426,122 and some change. So we're very proud of that. Our 2018 cost recovery percentage was 24.2%. This year, or I'm sorry, 19 was 24.7. So we did go up a whole half a point, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for us, it's quite a bit. So we're really proud of that. Our 2019 total expenses were $720,747 and change. That is down, like I said, over $50,000 from our 2018 expenses, which was $1.776 million. So we have been growing in terms of revenue, and we have been decreasing our expenses. So two things that we really try to focus on, in addition to creating memories, in addition to creating that warm and fuzzy feeling, we really take cost recovery seriously, and we put it at the forefront of our mind when we're planning programs and events. Some of the project successes that we had in 19. I look at the before picture of the front desk, and it blows me away every single time of what we were able to do with that project. It was a long one. It was in some cases a painful one, but we were able to continue to offer facilities for folks, fitness facilities. We did have a drop in our statistics in terms of daily visits for fitness, but we were able to create something for people to come in, still get a workout while the project occurred. We were able to utilize our lower level while the project occurred for a secondary entrance. But the after photos speak for themselves. We've gotten a lot of feedback, and I picked 3 words from some of the feedback we've gotten. One, folks have called it a home run. Folks have called it a bullseye, and folks have called it a massive success. So we are incredibly proud of the project that we were able to do. We were able to expand from within, reuse spaces that weren't being heavily utilized. And the fitness center is absolutely a home run. People will be excited to use it once we get back to a new normal. The other massive project success that we had that I think some folks had some apprehension with in the beginning was our transition to using SwimSafe as an aquatics vendor. Obviously, we were hoping to try and keep as much staff as we could. We did a good job of that. We did a good job of continuing to recruit Sharonville kids to be staff. But we were very fortunate in having a great leader in Krista and great managers and great lifeguards. Their attention to detail was second to none. The level of safety at the pool was fantastic. Two of the biggest things that we try to preach with the pool, and we've passed this on to SwimSafe, is we want it to be safe, but we want it to be fun. And we really tried to double down last year on all of the aquatic events and aquatic programs that we were able to offer, from the 4th of July to the movies, to the different silver sneakers classes and swim lessons that we were able to offer at the pool. We were really, really excited to offer those. We've actually got even more on our calendar for this year, which, fingers crossed, we're going to be hopeful to, get some good news that the pool might be able to open. But as the mayor said, we don't know what we don't know. So we're still working daily with SwimSafe to determine what that might look like. But again, 2019 in terms of our pool season, and I think Mrs. Knight will attest to this, it was probably one of the best pool seasons we've had in recent memory. So we were very, very proud of what we were able to accomplish there. Moving on to facilities and memberships. In 2019, we had 1,354 new memberships purchased for the facility. Of those, 743 were residents, 498 were non-residents, and 113 were corporate members. Now, corporate members we define as folks that come to us either through the Chamber of Commerce discount that we offer through the Sharonville Chamber, or they're a Sharonville business. So we did get quite a few folks that purchased new memberships in 2019. Actually, Jacobs Engineering, towards the end of the last year, we had many folks from Jacobs Engineering that came to purchase memberships, and we're really excited about the new fitness facility. So we'll be excited to have those folks back when we can reopen. Renewals, we had 2,278 renewals. 1,671 of them were residents, 513 non-residents, and 94 were corporate members. So we've really put a emphasis on corporate membership. We hosted a chamber event last year, poolside. We do attend some of the chamber after hours events. We put out some of our flyers at some of the events that we host from a city standpoint. So that's at the forefront of our mind, especially when we're meeting new folks that are business people within the city. Our Assistant Recreation Director, Carol Crawford, she heads up that effort. She has attended many different health fairs. We see ourselves as a health facility, whether it be mental health or physical health. So a lot of folks are attending their health fair for their business, and we want to have a table at that fair so that we can present what they're able to get from us in the city. Last year, in terms of participation, we had 86,248 swipes at our facility. And I define a swipe as a member that comes in and scans their card. Of those 86,248, 18,507 were at the pool. We only had 86 total days of the pool last year. So the pool was averaging about 215 per day. That does not factor in some of the guests that arrive at the pool. So we do have a lot of folks that are able to purchase a guest pass and bring neighbors, bring family members, and can use the pool in that manner too. Let's see. Through hourly room counting, we know that there's around an additional 70,000 people that visit us yearly. This is historical data that we watch daily. One of the main responsibilities of our staff when they're monitoring our facility is to do an hourly room count. So it's our best estimate of who's in the building. So we do get an additional, like I said, around 70,000 people into the building. And those are the folks that come in for basketball practice, whether they're members or not. A lot of folks that come in for basketball through SYO or volleyball are not members. They're residents. Or if it's a game, they're non-residents and they're there as spectators. So we do count those folks. We do count the folks that come in our doors, even if they're not there to actively participate in our amenities. We count the folks that come inside our building. So it averages out to around 440 visits per day. But again, it's quite a few people that we're really accommodating daily, and we're excited to see every single one of them. A few cool pictures here. The first photo of the pool was I think it was one of our evening swimming events, or it might have even been a swim team night event. I think this was given to be my Mrs. Knight, I believe. And it just kind of captures that fantastic background with the sun going down. The next photo is two of our youngest members in 2019 that were running the track with their moms. Again, this kind of just goes to show that we have different needs for different folks. So these two little guys were on the track with mom. The next photo is our silver sneakers class. This is usually a pretty full class. This is not a great photo because there's not as many folks in this one. But if you've ever been to the building in the morning and you try to park your car and you shake your pound your fist and say, why is there no parking? It's because we have massive amounts of people coming to us daily for silver sneakers. The last photo is one of our Valentine's Day preschool programs that we did last year, and it was a huge success, and we're really excited about that. But I want to go back to the silver sneakers photo in the gym. One of the things we've really tried to do is do a better job of internal scheduling. What you'll notice that the silver sneakers class is utilizing half the gym. We've set up the other half of the gym for a program that's going to immediately follow this class being cleaned up. In the past, we tried to do a good job of being able to, have spaces overlap so we can get more people in and have more fun things for people to do. So one of the things our staff has been able to do is really take a deeper look at our scheduling so that we can accommodate as many folks as we can. Moving along, programs and participation. These are some really cool numbers that I want to share with you guys. We talked about silver sneakers. We talked about swipes. Of those swipes in the building, 22,000 of them were silver sneaker swipes. We are getting quite a few folks, residents and non-residents, that come into our building daily that are there to build a healthy and active lifestyle. These are not folks that we consider senior adults. These are folks that we consider active adults that are not only coming to utilize the fitness center, they're coming to utilize the track, they're coming to swim laps, and they're coming to take classes. So these active adults, we're really proud to have them and really excited to have them. It's obviously a great revenue generator for us as well. But we're anxious to continue to build a good relationship with Silver Sneakers and offer those things for folks in our community and beyond. Trunk or Treat last year, we did a brand new program called Trunk or Treat. Not a new program to many. That happens quite a few times throughout the community, but it was the first time we ever did it. And we had 200 plus trunk or treaters. An interesting fact about that, we almost ran out of popcorn twice. So we tried to pop as much popcorn as we could, and we got overwhelmed, which we like to be overwhelmed. We like to be busting at the seams. We like a lot of people. That's fun for us. Obviously with the social gathering and the social distancing and the limitations on gathering, moving forward, not knowing how long that's going to last, that really kind of, is a shot to the heart for us because we like a lot of people in the building. We like a lot of people at our programs. It's evident by the daddy-daughter mom prom. Last year, we're both sellouts. Interesting number on here was the hot dogs. One of the things that we really tried to key on, as I said, was fun at the pool. Last year, we did offer free hot dogs for dads that came into the pool. So it was a very inexpensive way for us to offer a fun thing for dads to come down and swim with the kids. And we grilled up 75 hot dogs through SwimSafe. That was a huge fun thing we got to do. Pickleball, one of the growing sports in our community and beyond. We hosted 4 after-hours pickleball tournaments for active adults. Ninja class, we have a lot of Sharonville ninjas that are down there with Sensei Aaron. And we had 70 plus of them come through. 24 teams in our women's volleyball winter leagues, which is both a sellout for us. And 80 tea drinkers. We hosted a program called Doll and Me Tea. So that was a sellout. And little girls were encouraged to bring their mom and bring their doll. And they had a tea with cookies and all kinds of fun stuff, painting pottery and things like that. Moving right along. Looking ahead. So we are super excited about some of the interior upgrades that have been able to continue already in the beginning of the year. We're going to have new modern furniture in the building. We're anticipating the replacement of the 22-year-old indoor walking running track with a better product. Obviously, we've taken a deep look at our capital, as most departments have, and we have made some decisions on some things that we are not moving forward with. But there are some things that obviously we've committed to, and some things that we're hopefully going to be able to circle back to by the end of the year. Gower Park, we're hoping, is going to receive a brand new playground to complement Gower Tower. These new playground amenities are the result of the CDBG grant from 2017 coming to fruition. This equipment is special. This is inclusive equipment that will be able to offer outdoor recreational opportunities for folks of different abilities. So we are really excited to be able to offer that for the first time in our parks. Some inclusive playground equipment. It's going to be really exciting, really fun, really neat. And it allows us to serve all members of our community on our playground. So that's really special to us. Additionally, you see a photo there of one of the new structures coming to Gorman Park. I will say that that is on schedule, that is ordered, and we are excited to be moving forward with that. So you should hopefully see a brand new, beautiful playground by Memorial Day. And again, I'm fingers crossed that the kids will be able to play with it. So we're pretty pumped about that. Additionally, we know right now is a tough time for our community. We know it's a tough time for some of the folks that, have either lost work. So we're really trying to make sure that people are still going to be able to access our facilities and be able to participate in either low cost or no cost programs that we're hoping to offer. It's important for us because, we feel that we're in a unique position to engage our community. We'll continue to do so digitally. That's not going to stop even when we do reopen, because we know that there's some folks that aren't going to be as confident to attend our programs in our facility. We also know that there are folks that are vulnerable and are not able to. So we're still going to try and reach as many folks as we possibly can. A few of the big things that we have coming up that we're looking at on a daily basis. One being Camp Sharonville. The mayor mentioned camp. Our program coordinator, Aaron Tiplady, is looking at ways daily to try and modify camp, modify any way that we do camp so that we can be able to continue to provide that service one way, shape, or form. So we're still waiting on a lot more details from the governor to be able to make those changes and continue with registration. So a lot of that stuff right now is still a big question mark. The pool, if any of you have driven by the pool or been close enough to the pool to see, there's water in the competitive pool right now. It is full. It is crystal clear. It is beautiful. I was in the office today. It was hot enough. I felt like I was almost ready to jump in. But unfortunately, we still are waiting for more information from the governor. But we've moved forward with getting the pool ready and doing some small projects in order to do that. So the pool will be ready. We know that Swim Safe staff will be ready enough for our pool to open in some capacity. But we're still waiting on some guidelines and best practices to be able to do that safely. Lastly, we're looking at our 4th of July parade and event. We know that's a beloved tradition that a lot of folks look forward to every year. I think our community probably needs that event more than ever. So we're looking at creative ways to be able to offer that and, still engage the community, but do it in a safe manner that's going to be up to snuff with any mandates that were given from the governor. I'm a parent of young kids. My kids love to swim. My kids love to have fun. My kids love to do activities. So these things are things I think about daily, if not hourly, and things that I'm trying to find ways to be able to continue to offer these things for the kids, the parents, and the active adults in Sharonville. So I want everybody to know that from the bottom of my heart, I'm doing everything in my power to be able to continue these fun and exciting things that our communities come to know and love. Camp Sharonville is in its 41st year. I attended camp when I was a little kid. So I'm hopeful that Sunshine Junction, as it used to be called, will continue in some manner this summer. Lastly, I wanted to mention in a separate note regarding some of our folks and friends at Sharon Fest. They are going to be doing their scholarship. They're still looking at how they can continue their event into the 2020 event. So they're looking at different ways they can offer the event based on guidelines and mandates from the governor. But I can tell you that the folks at Sharon Fest are excited to be able to offer something, and they're looking at creative ways to be able to offer it. But back to my original point, they're still offering their scholarship, which is a very important thing and could be even more important for a lot of the graduating seniors in Sharonville. So please visit sharonfest.com, go to the About page, About Us, and on the drop down there, you'll see the scholarship information. And Sharon Fest, I believe, is giving out 2 $1,000 scholarships to graduating seniors that live in the city of Sharonville. It is an essay contest, so be sure to check that out. And that should be, again, really exciting for a lot of our folks. But that's pretty much all I have. Like I said, there's water in the pool. There's fun things that we're working on daily. We're trying to get things fired up, but we're doing so in a safe and slow manner as to follow the governor's guidelines. So yeah, that's my report.
Are there any questions for Michael?
Yes.
Michael, Mr. Tankersley, Rob.
Hey.
Two things I was curious about. The basketball hoops up on the Upper Grove, are those blocked off, or are I saw a group of kids playing basketball yesterday up there.
Yeah, so we're fighting a losing battle, and we're going to be adding some additional signage and some additional caution tape. This will be the second or third time we've done that, and it's being removed daily. I know that the police have helped us a few times with some after-hours basketball games and weekend basketball games, and they are closed, and we're trying to convey that message to the community the best way we can.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed that the playground and everything, everybody's been doing there. It's just yesterday coming up the hill, I saw a group of kids playing basketball that I didn't know if those were blocked off or not. So
yeah,
that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Knight, and Mr. Lippert, you'll be next.
Okay. Michael, I just want to tell you that just when you were mentioning about visitors in the community center, that's just wonderful. And even at swim meets, people are just in awe of how great our community center is. And you've done a terrific job. I can't say enough, but it just, it shows people that they can come and have a great time at our facility. And maybe they'll think about maybe moving to Sharonville or even joining Sharonville as a non-member. But I think it gives people a lot to think about when they're at the facility for a basketball game or a swim meet or something like that. So I just wanted to give you some kudos on that. So that's all.
Thank you. I've got one of my little co-workers here. I'm sorry, she's on my suit jacket. But no, yeah, I appreciate that, Mrs. Knight. One of the big things that we know that we can be our own best marketing team when we have folks in the building, either there for basketball games, volleyball games, or there for, like you said, swim meets, and they can be members of our pool, even if they live in other cities. So we try to put our best foot forward every single time, especially when we have folks that are coming to us from other communities, and we want to make sure that we have a nice, clean, healthy, and safe facility.
Mr. Lippert?
Thank you. Mike, is shown by you being the best dressed person at this meeting. I know you take a lot of pride in your work and your department, and it definitely shows. If the state prohibits pools opening for this season, you know what our contract with SwimSafe says about payment to them.
Yes, so we've already had this conversation with SwimSafe regarding a delayed opening, as well as no opening at all. We have guarantees from them that if we do not open, that our invoices, obviously during those busy months, will be next to nothing and will be credited. So there are certain fees. We pay monthly with SwimSafe. So like right now, there are fees that we're definitely being charged for getting the pool up and running, getting the pool filled, getting the pool balanced, little projects like that. So there will be still some invoices that we'll see, some bills we'll have to pay them, but the bulk, the lion's share of what we owe SwimSafe comes in the form of personnel, and that comes through during our pool season months. So June, July, August, September are when we see those much, much larger invoices. So yes, there is proration involved if we do not open or if we have a delayed open. But we're trying not to say those words from the recreation staff. We're hopeful that we will open. But again, we watch Mr. DeWine daily to see what he's going to say next. So.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Blomer.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful job as always.
I just wanted to say one more thing. Mr. Lippert did mention I take a lot of pride in my work. The reason is being born and raised and kind of a son of Sharonville, I did everything. I was a part of everything, and those things are now important to me, and they're important that I continue those traditions in the city I was born and raised in, and that those kids have the ability to do what I was able to do and all the fun opportunities I had. So that's why it's real important to me. And again, we're doing everything we can to get the community center back up and running, but we're waiting for that silver bullet. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I see no residents that have signed in to speak this evening, so we'll move on to our council committees. Community Development, Mr. Tankersley.
I have no report.
Okay, thank you. Community Services, Mr. Lippert.
Thank you. We're going to meet virtually via Zoom Wednesday, May 6th at noon. And I'll send an email to Josh Santos to try to get that meeting coordinated via Zoom. Thanks.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. We will meet virtually May 5th. That's a Tuesday, and we're going to have our meeting right after the Law Committee meeting. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Honored Citizens, Mrs. Knight.
No report.
Thank you. And Law and Public Safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Yes, as Mr. Cook mentioned, we will have the Law and Public Safety Committee meeting at 4 o'clock. It'll be a virtual meeting on May 5th. And any additional information is available on the city's website. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rule suspension motion. We need to have a first and only reading for ordinances 2020-15E and resolution 2020-R09E. Is there a motion? So moved by Mr. Lippert, second by Mrs. Knight. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please unmute and say yes.
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 All those opposed, no. And that motion covers. Thank you. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to our new business. Mrs. Buhite.
First and only reading of ordinance 2020-15E, an ordinance providing for the issuance of sale of a consolidated issue of various purpose notes of the city of Sharonville, Ohio, and the maximum aggregate principal amount of $6 million in anticipation of the issuance of bonds, authorizing a purchase agreement and a registrar agreement, authorizing a standby note purchase agreement and other documents required by the Treasurer of State in connection with the Ohio Market Access Program and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2020-15E? So moved by Mr. Cook, second by Mr. Tankersley. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, could you do roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mr. Duda?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-15E has been approved. First and only reading of resolution 2020-R09E, resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to give ODOT authority to upgrade and replace all Type A anchor assemblies on all locally owned NHS routes using ODOT safety funds and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to pass resolution 2020-R09E? So moved by Mr. Wilson, second by Mr. Tankersley. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mr. Duda?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
All right, resolution 2020-R09E has been approved.
We have been asked to do a voice vote, if you can say that quickly, for a grant application to Hamilton County mini grant for $10,000. And this is for Mr. Creech in the Community Development Department. All those in favor of accepting this, please say yes.
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 All those opposed, no. And that motion does carry. Are there any other things to be heard this evening before council?
I want, Vicky,
Mr. Tankersley?
thank you. I just want to throw kudos out to Mrs. Knight. She's been making meals and delivering them to the seniors with this taking place. And I actually was talking to her when she told me what she was doing. And I thought that was really nice of what she was doing. And I'm sure that's also keeping an eye on the seniors, but I want to give Sue a kudos for what she's been doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Knight. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. I did it for 5 weeks. My last meal was yesterday, and I was just afraid with the weather being like it was in April that a lot of them couldn't get out. But it was I delivered 16 meals, and I got to see a lot of them. We stayed our six feet apart, but they're very lonely. So, and I have to do a shout out to two of my, Anna's kids made desserts for the first 2 weeks, and Addie and McKenna Kerrigan and Lydia Irwin drew pictures for the seniors twice. So if you go on Willfleet, if you drive by or up towards LJ, Janet has them on display in her window. So they did an excellent job. So I'd like to say thanks to them too, because I couldn't do it without them. So.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Knight, make sure they sign up for Sharonville Cares if they are in need. I know Christina McGuire's been working very diligently along with Anna to get all these people signed up.
I think they're getting that because I saw a lot of signs in the thing, but it was just fun seeing them. I mean, I am vice president of the senior group, and they're just a hoot. All the whole group is a hoot. They can't wait to get back. So if Michael's listening, they said they'll sit 6 feet apart. They're not shy, so they'll do whatever they can. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I'm going to try to keep the kids keep drawing, and then I'll be delivering those to them. So, but anyway, but I have one thing I would like to do. Can I do a shout out to my brother? He's John. He's watching us in Florida.
Oh, that's nice.
He's getting this down there. So I wanted to do a shout out to him. So, but that's all.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hi, John.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, just two things. First of all, I just wanted to say I'm wearing college gear tonight in honor to support the senior class, graduating class at Princeton High School. This is Spirit Week, and today is College Gear Day. The second thing is I just wanted to give the times and location of the services for Mayor Farley, Woodlawn's mayor that passed away this past week. The visitation will be from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock. The funeral begins at 11 o'clock, and those services will be held at Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist Church. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe they're going to line the streets for after the service on the way to her burial. Is that what I heard? That they would like people to line the streets?
Yes, that is correct. So
okay.
Especially for the residents of Woodlawn that are not attending the services, they've asked them to come out, in front of their houses. And then also for the folks that are attending the services to also, once they come out of the services, to line the street as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else this evening? I don't see anyone. Is there a motion for adjournment? So moved by Mr. Lippard, second by Mr. Tankersley. All those in favor, yes?
Yes.
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 All those opposed, no. And we do stand adjourned. Thank you very much for all your support tonight, guys.
Thank you, Vicki. Have a good one.